Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the SME Connect. On this episode, we're going into a very interesting and interactive conversation, which is all about the creative industry. We're going to talk fashion design, we're going to talk entertainment, and of course, the people who are doing this with me, people who are renowned in this in this creative space. The first person we're having on the show is, of course, Anita Beryl. Many of you know her for amazing fashion, and she will tell us more about how she's coping and how she's doing her business different this time around, in especially these pandemic times. But also, we'll also be talking to James Byaruhanga. Many of you who know James Byaruhanga will always associate him with House of DJs, Blankets and Wine, and for many of you who have missed out on Blankets and Wine this year, he's going to tell you how he's innovating around this space. So, James and Anita, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, so Anita.
It's good to be here.
So I'm going to start with Anita. Anita, how is it going on your side? I mean, scientific weddings and all. How are you doing it?
One, I must say things have really changed. First of all, I had before we got into this COVID situation, I had April and May full of weddings, and it was really busy. Mm-hmm. And I was really counting on my May and April. I knew that was the time for me to make some money, and everything just got slashed. Now, I have had to, one, we stopped working, left work, and we're all at home. Yeah. So meaning production basically at hold. And we, however, got a few people that wanted to go ahead and have their weddings anyway. And those were the scientific weddings, I think, for now. And it's very different. First and foremost, we have no means of transport. So for most of these people, we have had to walk to work, try and finish up whatever it is that we can finish up. And, try and accommodate our clients and try and make, things work during this horrible time.
Right.
And it's totally different. It's weird. It's like the weirdest time. It's like you're trying to still work, but you still need to survive. So it's been very difficult. We are trying so hard. I've also learned to really adjust now. And I'm like, okay, so should we be like this for about, the next 1 year? What will happen? Am I going to, sit at home? Right. Or am I going to find out things actually work? So I had to get up and adjust quickly and start working. And that's how I'm accommodating really my clients right now.
Let me ask, you definitely employ some people, especially young people within your company. How has this affected jobs? Do you still have more young people working for you, or have you reduced the number of people working for you in these times?
Before we were a group of 13 people.
Right.
At the moment, only working 4 people, because number one, people live very far, so they cannot really, you can't ask them to walk. And actually, I wouldn't be like, I'm not cutting anybody off yet. But I also know that if this continues, I might have to slash my group to almost half. So we're still in that space where we have not yet, decided whether I need to keep my full team or maybe, reduce my team. But as for now, I have very young girls that are working with me, and they're really, really, really very good people, and they love their job. Right. But at the moment, they have nothing to do. They are willing to come. I want them to come, but there's no way they can come. Someone lives in Chingera. There's no way she's going to walk until she gets, to Gaba Road. So most of them are really sad. And of course, it means that at this time, like, for example, when we're not working, we have not worked for April, we've not worked for, May as well, because it's really coming to an end. It means that they're not going to really earn during that time, because for us, it's really what we do that actually pays us. If we don't have clients coming in, there's nothing we can do about it. So it has really affected them, and I see their messages coming in, and I don't know what to do really also to help them. I just told them, let's just hold on until maybe this, or we can get a new way of working, because I don't know if this is going to go back to the older normal so quickly. So
right. And I guess you're going to, and I guess you're already innovating around this space, thinking about how you can do stuff differently. And we'll get back to that immediately after we come from James Byaruhanga. Because James, the last time I remember, we were at Blankets and Wine some time back, having a good sip on whiskey. We were enjoying ourselves, and the music was fine. Huge number of people coming in. You were killing it. How is it on your side?
I see that's the kind of question you ask a child when he's down. You're like, so now? Yeah, it's tight. It's tight right now because obviously social distancing doesn't allow for crowds to gather. Air travel restrictions make it difficult for the artists. And yeah, in general, it's I think events are not going to happen for a while. I probably think this is going to be the last thing that will be opened up, if it's ever opened up. Right. So yeah, it's tough. But we are thinking about how to pivot. So, well, thankfully, I'm involved in a lot of other businesses, so I kind of look at strategies from different areas to just sort of understand how other industries are coping, and also keeping in touch with people in other countries who are in a similar industry and trying to see how they're coping. And I'll tell you straight up that we're pivoting, and pivoting very majorly. We are going online for pretty much everything. We've tested the waters a little bit. We tested with a few blankets at home episodes, mostly focusing around DJs, focusing around mixtapes. We got very good response. I think the first one, we got about 1,500 downloads on the mix. The second one, we got views close to about the same. We tested with Swans Avenue on the UG Strong campaign. We're comfortable now. We kind of know what we're up to. So I would say that next blank is most definitely going to be online, and it's going to be the same way it has been.
Byaru, I think it would be nice for you to tell me more about this intervention you came up with, because I actually saw it around social media. I was confused on how to actually participate in blankets at home, So explain to me the whole innovation around that.
Okay, so let's think about this way. So mostly if you go to blankets, it's supposed to be you and your friends, you sit down, you can watch some music, and just have good times, good vibes, right? It's been difficult to do that because of the issues that we mentioned earlier around COVID. However, we also realize you can still do something smaller with your family at home or with your friends anyway. The ones who are maybe in the neighborhood who can walk to you and stuff like that. As long as, of course, you adhere to social distancing and stuff like that. I think things are going to be a little bit more open now with private cars being able to move.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to see a lot of small, relatively small cliques of like groups of 10 being able to actually gather. And it's obvious that house parties are going to spring up again because of the bars being closed. Right? So the idea here is supposed to basically, what's the vibe for Blankets Online? Set up, get your food, get your drinks, be with cool people around you, and then have a musical experience, right? Right. So we want to move this out of the public space, right? Give it to you, and you can set it up the same way anyway, and you don't even have to worry this time about queues on the gate, maybe being jammed to bring in some drinks, the usual issues that come with gigs, losing phones. But you basically sit with the people that you want to chill with, and what we've been working so hard on is how do we deliver the musical experience that is Blankets, right? To you. That's the hard part. Now we've kind of hacked it, so we're basically ready to start testing it out and ready to go, and probably ready to go international.
Right. Byaru, I'm going to come back to you again, specifically looking at the DJs and how you're innovating around this, or how they're doing these mixtapes that you've been talking about. And again, trying to also understand whether it's actually making money sense to you and to them. But before I come back to that, let me just go back to Anita. Anita, you've just had Byaru talking about how they've innovated, how they've created a new normal in their business. How is the new normal in your business? How are you incentivizing people to take on fashion, but from their homes? Or if we even open up, it might be slow. How are you getting people to understand that fashion is an everyday thing? We don't have to worry about whatever is happening. If we want to dress nice and we want to look good, it's time to really work hard on that as well.
Definitely. We have a new normal, and it's not something that we even have anything to do about, right? But I think, and one of the worries now I have, especially with my brides or with my clients, is oh, I'm spending so much money. I have this gorgeous dress and nobody's going to see it. You see? Like we have a mentality that when we dress up and we're smart, people should be able to see it. Now but with the way things are happening now, number one, people can still get to see it because everybody's going now digital. Like everybody's on social media. We're all having all these Zoom calls. We have house parties all the time. Like we've had like a couple of birthdays online. We have all these weddings going into church, and all of us are on YouTube watching everything. So I think that now focus more on what is really important to you. It's no longer about everybody else because maybe 3 people will be on YouTube watching, maybe others will not be watching, but at the end of the day now, what exactly do you want your life to be like? I mean, are you going to be like, okay, there's no more going out, so I won't be happy anymore, I want to dress up, I want to do all of these things? Just the other day we had a house party with my girlfriends and we dressed up. We real dressed up, we made up, we did everything, and then we went into our living rooms and got bottles of wine and champagne, played some music, and it was really fun. But it's different. It's really different. If you ask me, it's more comfortable now. I don't have to get out of my home. I don't have to worry about having some wine and drink and driving later as I'm going back home. I don't have to worry about a lot of things. But it's so weird. It's so weird, but now. So once it is, and then when it comes also like my work, especially with wedding, because I'm usually a wedding a bride designer, and comes to my brides now, it's kind of nice because now you can afford to have a wonderful dress and take beautiful pictures, other than try and slash your budget on the dress and try to afford more and more food for people. It's really the average.
So now, you can dream dress on a good budget because you've cut out a lot of people, the hexagon kind of people wedding. So actually that's good, right?
Because if you needed 20 million for a nice small wedding, now you literally 5, right? Yes. And you can have a beautiful wedding, you can have your nice dress, take beautiful pictures, and you'll still have the memories. Except there were not too many people around and eating too much food and hotel bills and stuff like that. So I think that we have to find a way of looking at this in a more positive way. We're like, okay, so this has happened because it's not going to change. I don't think we're going to get out of this situation for maybe the next 2 years when we are actually comfortably, maybe there's a vaccine or maybe there is, a cure to this. Like, I don't think we're going to rush to get there. So for as long as that hasn't happened, I think we'll always be in this fear. Like you don't even, like even if they say now have weddings, a lot of us will be like, no, I'm not going. Mm-hmm. Those of us that are very conscious will be like, no, I don't think I'm going to go because there's too many people why everybody has been.
Yeah.
So I think we try so hard now and adjust and make lemonade right now with all these lemons that we have. Right. It's no longer the old things. And we can't do anything about it. Maybe this is what was supposed to, to happen. So now we dress up. We don't have to go anywhere in the world, but we're comfortable now in our sofas, in our homes. We watch Dance Party on MTV, and that's your outing.
That is the silver lining, that is the silver lining, which I think for me is a very interesting thing to actually see out of this, because when I come now to James, you do realize that silver lining that has been expressed by Anita is pretty much the same in the entertainment world. There's some DJs I never knew of 3 months ago, but I have interacted with so many mixtapes and mixed cloud mixers in the last 2 months rather, at an astronomical level. How is it on your side, Byaru? Because you talked about your Blankets and Wine where you are putting out these mixtapes. Are they making money? Are you making money?
No, not yet, but soon. So I'll say, actually, to just quickly go back to how Anita started the conversation around staff, are we paying them, stuff like that. We took a decision to just absorb the bills, right? Me and my partner, I wouldn't say that it's something that he's so excited about, but we, for now, decided let's just retain the status quo and observe. First of all, to actually observe who of your team members really cares about your business. Are they even trying to do anything, innovate with you or whatever, and you'll be surprised sometimes and mostly disappointed, right? Then after that, but the main thing is that we thought about humanity first more than anything else, right? and we're like, this is not the time to fire people. This is the time when they need you the most, right? So if you keep them stable, at least through this time, and realize maybe you have a lot of dead weights, I would rather let people go after this issue, not during, because it's like kicking a man when he's down, like I said, right? So that was a decision that we took. It's not a great business decision, but it's good as people to be people, right? After all, it's life, right? So it's difficult along there because the last 3 months, and also this happened at the beginning of the year. So for events, the events had 15 years, right? So they haven't like started the event calendar, and then COVID happened. So basically, the last 5 months we've not done any business, so to speak. So what we did is decided to focus on the brand and say, how do we keep the brand afresh and afloat? Mm-hmm. So the mixed steps for us have been an idea to just keep the brand, because we know right now people want music, they want to chill, they want conversation topics. So we push that as a brand thing. But while learning to see how many viewers do we get, how many downloads do we get, what are the responses, which one do they like more than the others, and stuff like that, doing a bit of analytics. I would say that now we kind of have an idea, and I want to address also something that Anita talked about. So we have an idea because we've been also trying to figure out how do you commercialize. What are the ways that you can get people to pay, and what do they want to pay for? So we have some ideas on how what they want and how they can pay for it. How do you protect? Let's say if it's a stream, how do you protect it and make sure that if I just share the link, someone can't watch it for free? And also, what are the negotiations with the artists? Is it the same fee? And also remember, there's a production element to it to be able to produce the show, and it should come to me. And feel like something worth paying for, right? So it's not just like a home performance, and you hear someone on the guitar and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to pay this for this. Yeah. And what's the right price point, right? And different methods of payment. Is it mobile money? Is it Visa? Can you geographically widen it and tap into the foreign market now? All those questions are there. But Anita, maybe just to give you an idea of how I'm thinking this is going to work, and I was just working on the budget for an event just now. The more we stay at home, the more we're going to try and change the way we show up, right? Today we can have this call in a relaxed environment without caring too much what, right? If I'm going to have an inspirational talk that people are going to pay for tomorrow, I can't just rock up in my polo shirt with a random background and stuff like that. I need to show up. I need to look the part. I need to make sure the set feels like it's a professional set. Everything has to come out, and that's going to spread across all angles. It's not just going to be around specific things, but people are going to start competing on how they show up, right? And that requires your skill, right? Because you need to design our sets now. So let's take an example. If I want to do a blankets at home type thing, or blankets online, now more than ever, I need you to come and say, this is not how people should see it look like. Those previously just get silk events, they just put up the stage and rig the sound, because I know there is more to it because you're there. But if I'm going to do it remotely, I need to all I get is eyeballs, right? Right. It's difficult to create the vibe properly. So I need my eyeballs to be happy. This is when you guys come to shine. So your business is going to change. It's not the same way it used to be. You're going to see a lot more focus on people buying better bridal dresses, making sure that the set for the pictures and the video is amazing. And everything is going to move to what will the person see? Because your viewers and guests are no longer with you to feel.
Right.
They have to see.
Right. You know, James, you just talked. Let me refer to you as Byaruhanga, because I know that's the name.
That's the event's name.
You've really hinted on something that is very critical. Branding. Branding and marketing are very, very crucial for any business. At the Business Incubator, we try as much as we can to inculcate the idea of branding and marketing into businesses, because it's the only way that you are visible, you are seen, and you are also relevant within, the community or society or whatever space you are operating in. But now, let me just pose this to Anita, because it's very critical when I think about branding. For your business, how are you staying relevant in terms of putting yourself out there, your branding, your marketing, and really getting your word out there? How are you doing this? And I guess just before you answer that, I just wanted to let the people that are watching this to know that we're on SME Connect, that is on YouTube live, and we are also on SME Connect, which is again on Facebook, and Comrade Otoa on Twitter. All of these are live platforms where you can actually watch and rewatch this show. So Anita, how are you staying relevant? How are you doing this branding and marketing to stay out there, for you to be constantly known?
Basically, the way forward now is pretty much, like I was saying, digital. Like, we're all now on social media. We're using all sorts of media platforms to basically let people know what we're doing. Like, for example, I just had because just like, of course, they said everybody has to do a mask now, has to wear masks, and so I thought about like my brides now. I'm like, okay, if I was wedding today, would I really want to have that like our normal masks that are on the market? I'm like, okay, so what do I do with my brides now? So I had to go in and try and create masks that match their dresses. Like if you have like a beautiful lace gown and you have like a very beautifully matching mask, so that you can have the possibility of having, something really beautiful. So at the end of the day, I think that now more than ever, before you knew that you had probably fashion shows, you had different events that you would show up to, and people would love how you dress, or you're going to dress different people in different, there are celebrities going on. So you had people seeing exactly what is happening or what you're wearing. But now they're not there, so we're not going anywhere. So the best thing to do now is to really have this on every platform that we can find.
So I guess you've really had to use a lot of social media, and social media has now become very much part of your work. Because Byaru, did you ever think that we would be having a conversation about business on Zoom, for instance?
Fortunately for me, to an extent, the nature of my main projects right now is and for my professional work is telecoms, right? So I have always I've kind of been in this life for 20 years, working remotely with a lot of people and stuff like that. And also, like for my data center project, most of the work we do is that the team is spread across the world. And we have like 3-4 meetings on a daily basis. So this has been my life for a long time. So I kind of feel comfortable into this whole situation. But I know what the question is asking, and a lot of people are struggling with this new normal. And a few people have just really embraced it and just run away with it, right? Right. Whether people who write, people who are doing a lot of these shows, it's been a very clear distinction. You've either grabbed it or it has grabbed you. It's not in between. And I'm surprised to see that a lot of the Generation Z kids have struggled to gel in, which I'm not sure why, but I guess it's one of those things. But I think it kind of scratched the surface in something interesting. Human beings have to compete to stand out all the time, right? And I see you already kind of have seen the opportunity, and this is something you can actually take forward. We don't wear those nightingale masks because they are plain, they are dull, and they're boring, right? But you've got a big brand in fashion. People know you as the person who basically does really cool, nice stuff, right? If you can meet the medical standards, so to speak, if Nightingale can make it, they can't be that hard anyway, right? And you make customized masks that meet the medical standards. First of all, every socialite in this town is going to want one of your masks with your signature.
Yeah,
I'm like halfway of my. The reason I didn't want to do like masks right at the beginning is because I didn't want a mask that was useless. Because like the moment a mask or everything, like I'm like, but this mask is not protecting you like at all. So was to make sure that we have an inside pocket that carries a filter, that we meet the standards of a very good mask. Looks fashionable, but at the same time protects you, 80-90%.
Yeah.
So
and you could export these as well. You actually, I feel like COVID was made for you. Like your boss just become. Can you remember us when you make all this money?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No. Honestly speaking, because again, I see a lot of opportunity in COVID. Just last week we were talking to a young guy who was working in a plastics or working with a plastic company that he owns, and he's transformed his business to now start also working on things like the masks. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and Anita has talked about now getting also into masks. Who knew that a fashion designer would be thinking about masks now? I have seen Louis Vuitton as well. Louis Vuitton also come out with interesting masks that are being used now in Italy, and also the sanitizers that are because of innovation. But this is quite interesting. But let me just now go back now to both of you, because you guys inspire a lot of young people who want to dive into your industry or are in your industry. What would you say to them in these kind of times? Because things like Anita has said will never probably be the same. But how do we, or what would you say to them in terms of uplifting them and also making them believe in a great future in the months to come?
I jump in fast, perhaps. First of all, I like the idea of SME Connect and what you guys are trying to do, and you're doing it successfully. I'll say that from when the artwork came out, I've received it from all sorts of directions. It means that your following is decent. So I think I'll keep it up.
Thank you.
I've also been toying with the idea. This addresses the question you asked me. Sorry, I'm just going about it the wrong way. I'm toying with the idea of building a mentorship type program, right? Which is pretty much something that will plug directly into like what SME Connect is doing. Basically, the biggest challenge the next generation has is that they are making our mistakes, right? They're having to go about it the same way we did, and learning as they go along. But it's not sustainable because there are very many, they are way more than we were, and they are very aggressive, right? So there's going to be a lot of clashing, and the opportunities have shrunk, right? Sort of like how our parents had big opportunities, and then we had slightly less, and then of course like that. And the number is only growing higher, and especially in the creative space. So I've been thinking about doing some kind of mentorship program, also something that I would like to maybe talk to you about after this, and see how we could plug into SME Connect.
Yeah.
But more importantly is being able to get the right kind of people to talk to these guys, right? So, like for example, I can imagine how many young aspiring designers would like to hear what Anita has to say, right?
Yes.
And how many gig people, like I see guys crashing on events and stuff, making mistakes we've made before, I think would learn one or two things. And more importantly, is they're willing to pay for this, right? Because it saves them, and saves parents the headache of keeping on giving these kids money and they're making mistakes, right? And especially like even now, imagine the Essex, like the guys who are in Essex VAC, campuses who are suddenly, like they have no school. It's going to be for how long, God knows. They are fighting with their parents at home. They're struggling and they don't even know what to do. So opening up a space between, like, for example, creatives who are in the industry and aspiring creatives at a small fee, make some money for the creative, pass on knowledge to the young ones, I think it's great. Right. So yeah, my thinking is that I think the young guys need to start finding out as much as possible of what's happening in the world. I think they need to embrace the new normal. It plays into the computer revolution. It plays into their space. They all know how to use the internet. They know how to use these apps. They need to start building business opportunities out of the digital revolution, and just forget the past. Just it's time. This thing is it's level the playing field. Everyone can compete at the same level. So it's time to go for your goals.
Man, thank you so much, Beryl. Let me just now get on to Anita. Anita, the same question coming to you. what would you tell one of those young people out there who are in your industry in a way of getting them to be optimistic about the future?
First and foremost, yes, I do have, and I'm already doing it anyway. I do have like a lot of young designers, upcoming designers that I do mentor. And as a matter of fact, I have had a lot of them panicking, like wondering what's going to happen. Oh, I wasn't stable yet. Oh, I was, trying to make it work. Now everything is, is gone. At the end of the day, I think I would say just take a deep breath and believe and, understand that this has arrived, right? Accept it, adjust. Yes, things used to work a certain way before. Now they don't work the same way, and they're not going to work the same way. So now you need to go back now and really, actually, I think even during this lockdown, it has been a very good time for all of us to really get back, think afresh, and start afresh, plan better. I feel like it was a very good time. Looking at it was good. While you're dealing with this, this is also going on. You're also seeing, what do I do next? Maybe if we're still working and going on, maybe we wouldn't even have had that time, because I know that one of the things I never had was time for almost anything extra apart from my work. Yeah. Now it has given me enough space and enough time, rather than me go back home and sit and be like, oh, now we are closed down. No, now I have new business plans. I have a new way of looking at life. And I'm also venturing into now the other things that can actually, one, capture people's minds, but also earn me a living. So now I can no longer think about, now there's so many, because if I was doing wedding dresses, bridesmaids dresses, like for example, bridesmaids dresses are all like down now because it's scientific wedding. So a lot of people now cannot afford to have the six girl entourages and stuff like that. So you know that if you are doing, let's say a package that had about 15 pieces, you're now doing 2 of that package. Your expenses have not changed because you still have the rent, you still have the people, you have not really cut down on the number of workers. It's still the same, but we're no longer earning the same way. So what do? You think again, target a different group, pick up another idea that can probably work on this. Like for example, now I'm going to do my brand is a premium brand, so I'm not going to do like messed up masks. I am only going to do a limited edition of very premium masks, very protective, very fancy, bougie. We still have people who still want to be, like happy and live life. And life doesn't show up. Yeah, we still have to turn up. We still want to turn up. We still want to look really nice. So
probably now more than ever.
Oh yeah.
And while we are saying, oh, money is not there, there are also people who still have money. I don't know what they do and where they get the money from, but there are also still people who still have the money and they're ready to give the money out. So I'm like,
they're not drinking. The money that goes to buy is suddenly saved.
Even more at home, we're never, we're such a big population and we're never at the same level, right? We have different standards, we have different things, and whatever you start, you always have a certain target and a certain group of people that you interest. So I think the best thing to do is go back to the drawing board, plan afresh, considering the circumstances now. If they're saying there's no more wearing shoes, leave the shoes, start making maybe something else, because this is not going to end now. And we have to really try, and complaining and going over things, it's not going to happen. It's not going to help. So the best thing to do is now to go back, look at what is happening, because also we do not know how it is actually going to be. We are right here. We could wake up and maybe things go back to normal, and maybe with the whole country is clean and clear, or maybe it could actually disappear. Maybe you never know. We have to pray. Maybe God could actually restore the whole situation. We're back to normal. But there's also a very big chance that it will not be like that. It will take a very long time. So the best thing to do is now, deal with what is on now. What we are, you have to learn to adjust so quickly, adopt new things. And now the moment stuff changes, don't sit and wait for it to go back to where because everybody's like, oh, I want us to go back to normal. Go back to which normal? We're going to go back to normal, but it's a brand new normal we have now. Exactly. And the earlier you are with, I think the better.
I think that's really, really interesting. And I would like to thank both of you for coming on to really put this out, because you see, the creative space for me is one that we cannot deal away with. You know, we all need our entertainment, we all need our fun. I remember someone a couple of days saying they never thought or knew that DJs were actually essential workers. And I think they should have been part of the list of essential workers. But you can see that fashion, business, drama, all of these areas in the creative space are very crucial for the way we operate in our daily lives. But just as a parting shot, and we only have a few seconds to go, what would each of you say would actually revolutionize or has revolutionized your space in the past 4 months? Let me start with Anita.
I think pretty much internet, right? Right now, I have number one, I was never good with social media. I was never good. I had a whole team doing that, right? Because I am not good with these things at all. But now I realize how important they are and how important it is for you to know what to do. I came back home and I had to, do an Instagram live with different designers from West Africa and South Africa, and I didn't know even how to start that damn thing. And it took me a minute. One of them had to walk me through it.
Yeah.
One of my guests. So I learned that there is new things that I didn't know, and especially when it comes to internet, because now we're going to sell more online, we're going to meet more online. We have more Zoom calls with my clients. We have the WhatsApp and Skype videos. We are now going to do, like, you have to learn now. And I feel like what has really changed so much now has become, and also has also enabled me to keep in touch and still learn a little something, even when we're locked down, has been really the internet, social media, digital world. Like, it's where we're going. Sure. And I think we don't have a way out of that now.
I know. So, I mean, all businesses, that is true. Byaru, what is it on your side? How is it like on your side?
Well, obviously, it's difficult to compete against the internet right now. It's the most essential product in every home, and but I will just go more specifically and say home internet, not just the internet, but like specifically home internet. Having a decent link that can enable a lot of video and voice conversations and communication. TV, streaming TV and movies, obviously for home entertainment. Homeschooling kids, like for my home here is like a lab right now. So the kids are in school. My wife is doing her work. I'm doing my work. All these calls are happening. Every once in a while there's a break. Jump onto Netflix, and also the kids have their accounts on Netflix. Like just somehow, if the link went off for 10 minutes, I am pretty sure I would be in so much trouble. I'm happy to be part of Rock Telecom at least, so I can tap from the source. So I'm actually really worried about how the bills for internet must be for like anyone who has 2-3 kids right now. It must be a nightmare. Yeah, so the internet for sure, and it's going to become more and more central because now all the devices also in our homes are going to become more internet ready. So it's no longer just about phones and PCs, but also extra devices, right? So,
yeah. Right. So thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Byaru. Thank you so much, Anita, Beryl. You guys have been really, really interesting talking to. I guess since you are the trailblazers when it comes to the creative industry, we'll be coming back to you later on to really film your stories at an individual level, to understand how you are coping, how you are dealing with the new normal, and how you are making things happen. For this show, we would like to thank Cloudco for bringing it closer to many of the guys out there, but also more importantly, the Business Incubator, where we make businesses more sustainable and more resilient. Thank you so much, and good evening.